Hello, SebGo here, and welcome to another Lines of Battle video. I've been playing the new update of Lines of Battle, and it's been really difficult. I've lost a lot of games. Some of them I didn't understand why, but it's kind of the thing. You learn new things and you start playing them. So yeah, I've been stuck in 1400 elo, just getting a little bit above and a little bit low. In this video, I'm going to present you one of those battles that I've lost, and in this case I kind of understand why. That's why I'm going to show it to you and I'm going to analyze it. And right here, in this precise moment, before even starting the battle, this is the real reason I lost the battle. My opponent was none other than the Divine Power Invincible Great General. There was no chance I was going to win this. By just reading that name, fear consumed my whole body. And this is what the game is about. Fear. Just fear. Now that we know the real reason I lost, let's start the analysis. The most important thing about this map is the altitude and the trees. If you look at the map, you can see fields all around them. These fields are separated by a line of trees. These trees with the elevation work as a barrier, and this barrier is a visual barrier. So when we activate the fog of war, you are not going to be able to see behind that tree line. And let's not forget the town in the middle and the lake that is right next to it. With the map done, let's start analyzing possible strategies for each army. One interesting thing about Red Army initial position is the position of the horses, in this case the hussars. If you look at the hussars are far away from the main body of the Red Army. So when looking at the hussars position, the thing that comes to mind is that the strategy of Red in this case is to use the horses as scouts, with that have the information to defend or attack. There's also the possibility to move the horses into a more central position and help with the advance of the units. However, with the first strategy, in which the horses scout all around the map, there's a problem. If the horses keep moving up and then they meet enemy presence in one of the tree lines, they can get killed, and the problem is that the horses won't know the enemy presence is there because the tree lines won't allow them to see until they reach there. We're probably gonna think that black is on the middle, as we are too. So it's really possible that there's not going to be any enemy presence on both sides of the map. But even with that, there's also the possibility that the enemy is going to use horses on those sides too. And if they have more horses in this case, just because the hussars are alone, hussars are probably going to lose, or at least be pushed back. It's likely that both armies are going just to push into the middle. As we've seen in red formation, there's a hussar on the left side, and it's probably going to go up there. However, as black, with the fog of war, I don't know where the red units are. But if I decide to move my horses down here and my opponent decides to move the horse up there, well, the horse of the opponent is doomed. One first thing I noticed in this battle is the position of the HQ of my opponent. The position of this HQ makes me believe that my opponent is going to place his units on the left side of the map. By putting the units on the left field, my opponent can see more, and because of the tree line, there are two fields that separate our visual range. So with this in mind, looking at this star, my plan consists on moving my units to the left side of the map to counter the possible units that are moving on the left side. I have a lot of infantry concentrated on the right flank. My left flank is not as strong as the right flank. So there's the possibility that enemy units are going to move into the left side and get really close to my star, forcing me to defend and move my units fast into the left side. In this rectangle we can see the road, and if we look at this road we can see that it goes from the top of the map to the bottom of the map, almost in a straight line. So considering the road and that my units are concentrated on the right of the map. This strategy consists in moving my 6 units down here and move them into the right flank of my enemy. The units might get pushed into another line of defense. Bring them to that kind of kill zone or capture the star. There's still the risk of my enemy pushing into the left side, but I think that my units rushing into the road in the right and moving to the left might get close to the right flank first than the units of my opponent getting to the star. Also, some of these units will have to move into the left side and the skirmishers will go to the middle. So with this I divide my firepower in 4 parts in the line. On the left side of the map we have high firepower. On the middle part of the map we have 2 zones of low firepower because of the skirmishers and probably some line or light infantry that will support them. And on the right flank we have another zone of high firepower because of the line infantry that's going to push. And if my opponent starts pushing in the middle, I can use the firepower I have on the sides to push into that middle side too and kind of surround him. As you can see, most of my maneuver is going to take place on the right side of the map. But remember that this strategy is based on the fact that I was thinking that my enemy was on the left side of the map. But as we see here, the opponent is starting in the middle position. Okay, let's stop here and let's see what's happened. If we look at my army, we can see that I'm trying to make the line I planned to do. There's also some line infantry units going to the right flank plan, going into the road and taking the position there. We can also see that Red is forming in the center of the map, using his skirmishers in the front and rifles too, locating them in the town and also in some parts of the tree line. We can also see that Red moves its howitzers into the middle of the formation. This position allows him to shoot over the city if Black attempts to get into it. Red is overextending a little bit to the right with 3 units of line infantry. And, as said before, the hussars are taking positions up ahead and scouting the terrain. If you look at the box, you can see the 2 groups of firepower on the right side of the map. As you can see, it's not exactly the same as I was planning. However, I'm still trying to concentrate more skirmishers on the middle and more infantry units into the side. The groups on the left side have less infantry that I was planning to use. However, there's always the possibility to rotate a little bit of units and move them into the left side. The rockets here have the mission to cover in the left flank. They are also really good at close combat, so that's why I'm moving them to the left side. In this moment, I think that Red has this formation, with some infantry just hiding behind here. In the case of my opponent's horses, I didn't know where they could have been. In the right side, we can see that there's a skirmisher down here. In this moment, I think that skirmisher is a lone skirmisher, and I could potentially keep going with the push on the right flank, and also while doing that push into the town in the middle. So in this moment I decide to use my horses to scout the terrain, on the left side only. Other than that, I really didn't know what to do with my artilleries. I think the artilleries weren't that good in this map, so yes. One of the most important things in the red formation in this moment is the 3 line infantry that we have on the right flank. As you can see, they're a bit separated from the main force, but the important thing about these units is that they are hidden. And if this case Black commits and starts an attack on the right flank, or in this case the middle part of Red, Red can get out of the tree line and ambush the attack of Black. And with the lake now in the middle, there is no space for retreating the units of the attacking force. In this moment, Red is also playing a dangerous game, because Red doesn't know if there are more infantry units on the other flank. There's a problem with Red separating these units from the main body of the army, and is the fact that Black can push this sector with more units. Another thing that Red hasn't considered yet is the fact that they don't know where the cavalry of their opponent is. And the risk is that the new front line could be defined here, and in this case the HQ of Red is going to be in black territory. So the plan for Red in this moment appears to be to hold the line, wait for the enemy to push in the right flank, in the middle, and also believing that black has more units on the right flank, not so much on the left flank, or that black is not going to attack on the left flank because there's a physical visual barrier that doesn't allow him to see, and it's a little bit scared of pushing. And yes, I was scared here. Because of this physical barrier, I thought there were units here that were waiting for me and I didn't push. I could have waited here in this tree line, but I decided to keep going. So here it is. This is the moment just before the disaster. You see it? I see it. Well, I didn't see it, but behold the now ready to do ambush. And this is what I saw. That's a really good play done by my opponent right here. But what can I do? He was the divine, power, invincible, great general. This is the plan I was trying to execute in this precise moment. I realized that red howitzers were moving down here, so I was thinking there were probably 2 units of infantry right here protecting their cannons. So that's why my line was overextending into this side. I was going to capture these trees and hold there for a bit and then start the push again. Because I was thinking there were more units down here, I also started pushing into the middle, considering that Red wasn't going to be able to hold this city enough. And because now I was making numbers, they were probably 2 or 3 units of infantry down here, but they were more likely to be down here. That's why I started moving on this side with my infantry units. However, I was really scared because I was still thinking that their units were right there and they were waiting for me. I also could see the unit of the horse up here, but it disappeared, so I was thinking the cavalry unit was here and was trying to attack my infantry unit up here. That's why in the next movements you'll see this unit become a square in order to protect its flank. All this battle I was fighting ghosts. And I was really scared on this position right here. The fact that I didn't know if there were enemies or not made me really slow on this flank. And in the other hand, in the right side of the map, I was just too confident. I would say too much. I got up ahead of myself and I thought that there were no enemies whatsoever without even checking it out, and just went straight for it. Big mistake here. So with that said, this is all the analysis I can do in this battle, strategy wise and whatsoever. In the next movements, because I'm going to run all the battle, you'll see how the ambush works, how I try to use squares on the right flank, and after realizing that there were no units on the left flank, I'll try and push down into the HQ and try to capture it. It was a really close one. I almost captured it, but the fact that I lost a lot of units because the collapse on the right flank meant that I collapsed in all the other sectors. After that the middle, and then the capture in the HQ. It's only a matter of time that I fall, and even if I try my best to capture the star, there was no way I could win. Well, maybe there was, I don't know. I think I tried my best. Maybe I made some mistakes defending the star, the HQ, while capturing it, but well, you'll see. And if you see that I could have taken other measures to win this battle, or at least to hold more time, put it in the comments and start the discussion there. And so with that, the battle ends. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.